This is going to be a fun episode right here because I am not hosting. I just wanted to let you know we're going to have a great interview. I am super excited to be able to share on Martin's Pareto Summit, which is coming up next month. He asked me to be a guest, and I said I was honored, and I can't wait to share more. I'm going to bring Martin up, and he's going to interview me right after we do one more countdown.
Hello, Mario. Great to have you here on the summit. And for the people who are watching this, we are actually streaming this live. And you may notice a small difference compared to the other interviews that I've done, because Mario is a live stream video podcast expert. He's the host of eainterviews.com, a 2 times international best-selling author and speaker, and CEO of his company. Welcome, Mario. Great to have you here.
Martin, it's a great day to be alive. I can't wait to share with your audience.
So can you tell us a little bit how you became a live stream video podcasting expert?
A lot of practice. That's honest to God truth. It's a lot of practice.
So tell us a little bit about your background, your business, and how you came to video podcasting.
Sure. So joking aside, I mean, honest to God truth, if people want to get into videoing, whatever, I highly, highly encourage it. It's fantastic. However, compared to audio, compared to writing, there is a lot more work. I'm always transparent with that. My background's in video production, special effects, cinema, broadcast. I know how to do animation like Finding Nemo and, cool stuff like that. But translating that into business, it isn't always the easiest thing in the world, but I've been incorporating it with my clients for, let's just say, a few years. I don't want to admit how long it's actually been, but I always saw the potential of what you could do. And at the end of the day, you want to tell a story, you want to share a message, and that's what it's about. Whether it's a local business, a regional company, or a national company, they all have a message. All have their ideal prospect, and you want to communicate the value statement with them. Well, how do you do that? Do you want to write 5-page article hoping they read it? Maybe you put it on audio, which now I have to give props to with the new show, but I know that most people are visual and they like seeing and holding their attention. It's why they go to the movies. It's why they watch 900 million hours of TV a day. And people just like, a picture's worth 1,000 words. Well, at 24 frames a second times, 1,000 words, how many pictures is that worth? So I joke about it, but at the same point, I highly, highly encourage people to do it. And it's what I wrote my first book on, Video Marketing for Business Owners. I believe every business needs video, including yours. And I'm excited to get into more detail about it because it's such a powerful medium and it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, I believe it's the same. And now we try during this interview to break it down how people can implement video in their business without having this extensive background in video production. So, I really want to thank you for leveling up the video production for this summit. And I think people will notice a huge difference in the camera that I got, that you recommended, and the new microphone that I got. And this is awesome. I'm feeling so much more confident. I really like the new format. And so tell us a little bit what's the best use case of video. So what kind of use cases do you see for somebody who's just starting out in online marketing, who had the first contact with online marketing and now thinking about like which channels should they use?
That's a great question. It depends on who your audience is. Maybe you want to start a video podcast. Maybe you just want to do a weekly show. Maybe you want to shoot a series of videos to put on YouTube and your website that are giving the answers to the questions people are asking. Maybe you want to have a welcome video on your website. It's one of the secrets I have in my funnel. And I'm so thankful because there's a lot of VIP guests who have done national TV, and they have flat out told me, they go, I have traveled around the world speaking. I've been on national TV, and you have the best funnel and onboarding process I've seen. It is so clean and elegant. And I just smile because I put a lot of time into it. But at the end of the day, it's not rocket surgery. It's I 99% of what people ask me, to me, is just common sense. If someone goes to your website for the first time, you want to what? Say hi to them. Well, how do you do that? A long drawn out thing with text? What do you do when you meet someone for the first time? You look them in the eye and you say, "It's nice to meet you. You know, what brought you here?" And you just have a conversation, kind of like we're doing now. But the thing is, people go, "Oh, I got to shoot a video." It's so simple. You can, there's a million different ways to do it, but I do want to stress the point of do it professionally, because there's a lot of videos out there that don't look professional, and whatever your interpretation of that, because to one person, oh, it looks fantastic. But at the end of the day, realize this is going to be living on the internet for probably a decade or more, and people will be seeing it. Moreover, when I started this, and what is something that people should consider getting started? Think about if you were speaking to 1,000 people. Before I had the camera, before I had the studio, before I had the mic flag, before I had all the what about the this, I got ready and I came forward and presented myself and I showed up the same way as if I'm speaking to 1,000 people on stage. I even put on shoes and socks and my full suit and everything. And I go, I'm going not only in front of 1,000 people, I'm going in front of 10,000, 100,000, a million people, because the reality is that's the possibility on the internet or off the internet. When you're on video, you can literally be everywhere. Think about the Super Bowl. Think about Netflix. Think about all. You don't know where it's showing up. And if you do it well enough, people will take notice, and maybe they might just say, why don't you do your own show? I just heard a story recently about someone who was a YouTuber who now has her own show, like on late night TV. And it's because she stayed consistent with it, and she did a good job at it. So as much as I love the tech, don't make it about the tech. It's about the people. It's about their heart. It's about the value you add and the transformation you can bring them. The video is just a medium. It's my favorite, but I do love audio now with the new show, and with the books, I can't be bashing on the writing either, but do realize people are visual learners. Do all of them. I guess I should just say that, but you know what your power medium is, and everyone has their own, just play to that. Start with the end in mind. Who am I talking to? Where do I want to take them? Now, what kind of setup do I need to facilitate that? Don't start by going, what mic do I need? I have no idea what mic you need. What's your budget? Where do you want to take this? How good do you want to sound? There's a lot of variables, but there's a lot of good mics out there.
Okay, so if you want to have like approach this with an 80-20 mindset for somebody who has some budget and really wants to embrace video, what do you think is the minimum budget, and what's the minimum equipment that is required to produce at least a decent show?
That's a really good question. I love the 80-20 rule, and I'm half tempted to say maybe around $500, but on the side of caution, I'd say 1,000. It depends how much fanciness you want in the video itself. So realistically, I'd say you could pull it off for 500 or less, or because of the cost of the software, 1,500 or more. And you go, well, how much more? Well, how deep into Hollywood do you want to talk? Because I can talk about all the stuff that my film crew and my cinema team have, and we take on location for big shoots and all that, and you're talking tens and tens of thousands of dollars. If you're doing it from your home studio or your home office, 1,500 to 2,500 without building a new computer, which I did. But let's talk about the 500 or less, because that's where people are starting at. The ATR 2005, like the one you got that you're showing off there, you'd recommend it now?
Yeah, and I talked to another speaker who chose between this and another mic, and I think he got a much more expensive one, but this was also like in his consideration, and I think it's probably the best value that you can get. I actually bought it from the US because it was not available here in Europe, but it cost me around like $150 with priority shipping and importing fees. So still, that's still a good price. It was cheaper than the Blue Yeti that I got here in Europe, and which is now standing somewhere there
It got
and is
retired.
kind of retired. And the camera that the Logitech Brio that you recommended cost around, I think, 150 euros as well. So that make that, and then I only have like basically the soft boxes and using Camtasia to edit the videos, and that's all the setup that I have to record this.
And it looks phenomenal, and I'm super excited for you. So I will say that the US version of the mic, it's 70-ish, whatever. If it's $10 more or less, you shouldn't be concerned about the $10. The Brio is under 200, whether it's on sale or not. But the Brio, I really wouldn't recommend any other camera. The Logitech Brio 4K, like I got last year, and I've been running my mouth about, it's the best one on the market, and you want the highest quality because, again, it's a one-time investment. This isn't something you have a subscription for. This isn't costing you 50 to 100 a month or 200 a month like most softwares. This is a one-time deal. Why would you get anything less than the best? Even if it was ongoing, why wouldn't you get anything less than the best? The microphone, it's if you're in the US, it's not going to you're not going to have to pay those extra taxes and fees and all of that stuff. The soft boxes are another thing. And then there's something I'm running. Okay, I'll just show it. So you want some headphones, earbuds in your monitors, and then I actually have an extension cable. My favorite thing out of the entire setup, because you can have a $800,000 mic setup, you can have cameras, you can have all kinds of stuff. But I tell you what, the fact that I can move and not choke myself anymore, it makes it a good day. And that thing's like $6. So there's different things, and that's something to consider. Are you going to sit there like a robot and not move the whole time and just do this? No, you want some range of motion. So what does that mean for the camera? Is the camera going to be wigging out all the time, or do you have it set up? These are things to consider because as fun as the tech is, how do you want it to show up? Do you need one of these? Those are like $60. But well under, I don't want to say well under, probably close to it at this point. 200 here, 100 here. Get soft boxes. Straight up, I don't know why everyone uses ring lights. It's a single point of light. They're better than spotlights in your eyes, but get some soft boxes. The camera alone won't make it like look good like this. And what did I tell you even on the other camera before we tested it? I go, that looks phenomenal even with a lesser camera, and I know it's because of the soft boxes. And why everyone just goes, get this mic, get this, get that. I think it's because they heard a couple people talking about it, then they repeated it, then someone else repeated it. But if you take a step back, a lot of the stuff I engineered for my show and what I teach my clients and inside a free video podcast course is what I learned in broadcast and cinema production of how to properly light stuff, how to have the subject in focus. How these are all things you would use on TV commercials and movies, and I assure you they work totally fine if you're sitting at home and you're just on a webcam. It all applies once you have them all in sync.
Yeah, and it's I really have to say it's not that difficult to set up. You just have to follow some certain rules. Maybe we can talk a little bit what you helped me with when I set up the setup. So can you maybe repeat some of the advice that you gave me?
Yeah, one of them I was saying about knowing the show format, knowing the flow of what you want it to go. A lot of people will say, what kind of mic should I have? Well, I go, well, it doesn't matter. Once you have it, you're set up. And I love that you said, I feel so confident I don't need to think about it anymore. Once you have the camera and the mic, you're set up great. Well, there's about 900 other moving parts to a show, to a summit, to a podcast. And you need to think about what are the questions you're taking people through. So after I realized I want to play at the highest level, and I told everyone I'm going to stream my show in HD and record it in 4K, they're like, you're nuts. You don't need anything better than 720. I'm like, yeah, well, you don't need a fancy car or house or boat either, but they're nice. And I just wanted to play at the biggest level to be able to help the most people and make the greatest impact. And not everyone's going to be inspired by kicking it with a stick. Some people might, but not everyone. When I've had big companies reach out to me to help them with their live stream productions, like large pharmaceutical companies and former NHL players and like large companies, it's because they realized I was doing it different. And I want to share that with everyone because I want to rate. My goal with the show is to exponentially elevate the identity of humanity. And you're not going to do that playing small. And you can help people, and I want your message to go out there. So that's something you really need to think about. I can take you through in under an hour how to set all this crap up. Straight
I
up.
I love this mindset because that's something that I learned from all the interviews that I've done for my summit is if you want to attract people with money, you have to play a higher game and you have to offer more and be unique, be different. And I think especially if it does not cost that much, like if we're talking about video production, if you go to like you do, like you can approach like NFL stars or whatever, like celebrities, and with your like it just shows that you're an expert in this field, and that means you can probably charge really high fees to help them achieve that, and they care about great results because they are also challenging and trying to reach a level of mastery in their field of expertise. And it does not matter if you're a great sportsman or if you're really honed a skill in video production. Mastery recognizes mastery, and it's at some point it's noticing the small distinction that make a huge difference. And so let's dive in some deeper into the video production thing. Is there another tip that you want to share with our audience?
I've been saying this for years. Don't stay stuck in startup mode. Everyone wants to publish a book. Everyone wants to start a podcast. Everyone wants to start a show. Do it. It's a lot of fun. All of them. But we go from, I don't know anything about this, to, I need to learn a lot in a little bit of time, to, I feel like a rock star because now I know what I'm doing. But a lot of people don't look to go, am I doing it efficient now? I can assure you the 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, whatever it was leading up to the launch of my show, I was just doing whatever it takes mentality. A month after I launched, I was so excited to go, I can reevaluate. Not for the sake of I'm going to reevaluate and nitpick the whole thing, but to go, okay, what worked? What can I improve on? And how can I do it better next time, next month? You
Yeah,
want to be taking a look at that Pareto principle, like you're talking about, going, how can I do it more efficiently? And even if you go, I just got a new mic, I got a new camera, that's great, awesome. There's a lot of people I've helped upgrade their studio, whether it's at home, office, or a big production. But how long are you going to stay there? I'm always, what you're seeing now, I drew out before I had my first guest. And I go, I don't know if this will take 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, or whatever, but I will hit the goal. And regardless if everyone thinks I'm insane for saying it, in recording in 4K, HD streaming, because this is not an out of the box solution. I had to create this, and it was a nightmare all of November. And there's a lot of time. I know I can tell you because I've been tracking this with a spreadsheet of 150 plus columns for over 100 episodes so far. I can tell you anything about any episode, the transfer rates, the times. I've been doing this not just for my own benefit, but for the millions of people who want to do the same thing. And I'm telling you, you could do it in 2 to 3 months with what I'm revealing in free video podcast course, because I don't want people to have to take over a year and need 15 years of a background to pull it off. But I'm thankful to God every day that I did, because there's no other way it would have been possible.
Yeah, and that makes it so easy for people like me. I can just follow proven templates and model what works, and it's saves so much time. I'm using templates for all the summit. I'm using it for emails and for basically everything, and that's really the 80/20 approach. And then with the thing that I will be launching after the summit. It's like that will be my unique thing, or my software like Find Focus is also really unique, and it's the best on the market, I believe. And it's that's my thing. But for everything else, I'm using templates and listen to the experts, or just ask for help. Like, can you help me with this? And yeah, help me with this video setup. And it's incredible, like how helpful you have been, and how helpful other people here on the summit have been once I got in motion and had this idea and pushed things yeah, forward.
Yeah,
So
it's honestly my pleasure. This is why I do it, because it's added a lot of work to tracking everything, but at the same point, it's saving a lot of work for everyone else. And I mean, if you're not giving back and you don't have that servant's heart, that's one key thing I look for in my VIP guest. It's like there's a lot of successful people out there, but do they actually want to help people? I was
yeah,
I
so
was beyond excited to go, oh, episode 101. Yes, I have all the data from the first 100. Now I have to just figure out how long did it take to shoot? How long does it take to shoot an average episode? A lot of people say, how long is an episode? Okay, I don't know. It's actually 36.9 minutes. But I say between 35 and 45. Some are longer, some are shorter, but it's 36.9 for the first 100. I'll tell you that. But what's the production that goes into behind the scenes?
have you been so detailed with everything that you do? Because like having this huge spreadsheet seems like super impressive, and it also seems like a lot of work. And yeah, so how did you come up with even with the idea of the spreadsheet?
First off, I never thought it would get that big. I just wanted to track the guest I was having. Now, I have a CRM that I recommend, Pipedrive, and I've been using that to move the deals forward. But when it came down to, yeah, I got an episode, I got two, I got three, it took me back to 2008 when I went full time in business. I was like, yeah, I got 3 clients, I got 5, I got 10, and I got about 12 clients within 6 weeks. And using post its was fine for about 3 or 4 of them, but when you get to the dozens, you need a better setup. When you get to the 50 plus, you need a different setup. When you get to the 100 plus, you need a better setup. So something I've always taught to the audience is, would this work times 1,000? Oh no, I don't need this. I don't need a CRM. I have post-its everywhere. Well, would that work times 1,000 clients or guests? No. So what I took the same mentality from however many years ago that was back in 2008, and I go, well, I need to track, I have to book the guests, I have to schedule them, they have to say yes. Well, how long, what was interesting to me is, how long did it take from them to say yes to actually book? And I'm sure you've experienced this. And remember, I said I'm going to be super easy for you, because I knew what it was like. Plus, I wouldn't do that even if I didn't know what it was like. I'd take fast action on everything. From the time they say yes to the time they book, that's one time frame. From the time they book to the time you actually shoot, that's another time. Those were very interesting to me, because the reality is someone could say yes today and not book for a month and not shoot for another month. Conversely, someone might reach out to you last week and you're filming something the week later.
Yeah.
Well, you have to think about this in your business. Who do you want to attract more of? People that take 6 months and drag their heels, or people who take fast action and get big results?
Yeah, that's a recurring theme on this summit as well, because everybody that I interview say you have to treat your business like a business, and you have to know your numbers, whether you're doing organic outreach or whether you're running paid advertising. Of course, like with paid advertising, you're investing money, but if you're investing time, it's you can invest both, and like probably time is even more important. And yeah, so I love how you track that. And but yeah, what are some columns that you did not expect to show up in your spreadsheet?
One of them was transfer time between, again, with video, you need to know the data rate, what's the file format, what's the transfer from the hard drives, because the reality is, oh my gosh, look at the video, it's so cool. Well, obviously, that was the goal. But when you have 3.5 to 4.5 gig files per episode, the reality is you need a machine that can handle that, along with, oh, I'll just throw it on YouTube. Yeah, it's going to take you 42 to 46 minutes per episode for the processing time and another 10 to 15 for it to encode. Now do the same thing for Vimeo and Facebook. There's a lot of transfer time, there's a lot of processing time, there's a lot of render time. The reality is when I'm booking 5 or 6 shows in a day, I go, I need to figure out how to limit this. And every single solution on the market didn't work when you're doing it at that I equate it to a Lamborghini. Any car can go 100 miles an hour, but there's only a few that do 200 plus. When you're playing like this, you're basically doing a Lamborghini or space shuttle launch daily that you need to have precision and you need to know what all of that is. And I go, if I can save 8 minutes on a render or 12 minutes on this or even 2 minutes on an audio mix down, what does that look like over 100 episodes? It's hours. Not just hours, it's tens and hundreds of hours. And I'm going, okay, so here's another. I mean, I've ran into so many bottlenecks, but now I've busted through all of them and can tell you, yeah, it took me about 6 to 7 months to figure all this out, but I'm confident I could teach anyone in 8 to 12 weeks how to pull off this, what you're looking at now, and even more so. And I showed you some of the advanced graphics and different things. Once you have it set up, it's not difficult, and the time saving is exponential.
Okay. Yeah, you in the pre-chat you told me like when you first got started, it took you 14 hours or something to produce an episode. And how much time does it take you now?
Okay, so kind of. It took 14 hours of editing for the
Oh,
video alone. I had no idea what I was doing with the podcast or audio. No one does. Well, I want to start this, but I don't know what to do. Of course you don't. You didn't know how to walk, you didn't know how to ride a bike or drive a car, but you figured that out. A lot of the time is going to be in the first 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 episodes, and I'm thankful for that. And I really cherish it because literally today is 1 year ago from my first interview, and now I'm over 115, 20, whatever the case is. And there's a lot of stuff I still want to improve, and but I'm not focused on that. I'm thinking of how grateful I am because I could tell you exactly the mindset and where I was last year before I started this, and it's nowhere near where it is now, and it's just so real, and I'm so thankful and excited to help more people do it faster. But it probably took, if it was 14 hours alone on the video editing, there was probably another 2, 3, or 4 on the audio for a 35-minute episode. Maybe I think that one was 52 minutes, maybe a little bit longer. Whatever, 45 minutes for the first episode. I was learning all of it. Now most of them are 36.9 minutes. And there's the show note time, there's the producing it time, and I would say it's between 1 and 2 hours per episode versus easily 10 plus for the longest time. Then it was 5 plus, and maybe some that their longer episodes have more. Again, if you have 60 minutes of video, that's versus 30, that's twice as much editing. So let's say 1 to 2 hours and for half an hour ish, 4 to 5 if it's a longer episode, just because everything's doubled. It's more listening for the show notes. It's more editing for this. As far as uploading it to the website, once they're done, that doesn't take too long.
okay.
It's about 5 minutes on a web
My
page.
I personally really laugh that you achieve mastery with live video podcasting. But for me, like an 80-20 setup is enough because like I think it's also like you can get stuck in the details. Except if somebody like you want to be like category king in this new category of video live podcasting, then it makes total sense. But for the rest of us, it's just like having it good enough so we can enhance our business. And that's actually my next question is like what kind of business model does video podcasting work for, and how would I use this to make money?
Well, that's a great question, Martin, because that was something else I wanted to track to your point of knowing the numbers that you mentioned earlier. If you if you're doing sponsors, which you should, and you say, I want to get $1,000 an episode. Well, if it's taking you 32 hours to produce one versus 6, that plays a big role. So not only is it how much time do I have and how much time do I have to produce this? There's only 168 hours in a week. If it's taking you, whatever I said, 32 or 36 hours, you're not going to be cranking out 100 episodes a week. That's a lot no matter what, I'll just tell you. But you know what I mean? You need to know how much time you have, the revenue, what's the profit margin on it, and that's why you need to track it. So even if you go, I don't want to do it as fancy or as advanced as this, you don't need to. What you need is shoot the episode, make it the best it can be, and promote the episode and do the best promotion you can. Because no one's going to know. I've seen a lot of people who do great episodes, but they never promote them or talk about them. And no one knows about their go, why isn't the show growing? Well, it's the same reason you're not getting new clients. You're not making any offers because you're not telling anyone what you do, or more specifically, giving them a call to action. And there's a whole strategy on that. But you need to be doing just a couple of things consistently. A couple of my new clients going, I'm so excited to launch the book, but what do we need to do? And there's all these moving parts. And I go, you know what? You need to get the book done. You need to have the thing written. We need to cover for it. It needs to be properly set up on Amazon, and we need to talk about it. You can distill most everything down to 4 to 5 things, and then depending on how deep you want to go with each one. But if you nail those, and that's really what I'm excited about, is I've gotten really great at those, and I love teaching other people the keys because it's so easy to get distracted with all the other stuff. To your point, well, how do you not get lost in that? You take 5 minutes a day, you look at it, you reevaluate, and then you forget about it and do something more fun. Because no one, actually, I'm thinking of my good friend of mine. She would love to stare at spreadsheets all day. I wouldn't. But when you're doing Facebook ads, it's imperative you know the conversion rates, the metrics, and all of that. What's the ROI? Any type of advertising, you need to know that, but don't get stuck in it by no means. Just move forward with the show and do your best. Reevaluate every couple of weeks to a month and come back and go, what can I improve on? What can I improve on? At some point, there's nothing left to improve on, but you do need to still keep shooting episodes.
Yeah. So you talked about the business model of producing a show and getting sponsorships. Are there other business models that this would work for?
You can have direct sponsorships, you can have affiliate agreements, you can have partnerships, you can offer your own products. The fact that you're doing something consistent and regularly, more people are going to be reaching out. If you do coaching, you're going to get more coaching clients. If you don't do coaching, perhaps consider it. You know, I was blessed that I already had 4 books out, and people started asking more about that. Then they're going, how can I write a book? Because, you know, I can help them with the publishing. And there's a lot of things you can do. Just by being out there, it's going to attract more to you. But sponsorships is a direct way. Coaching is a direct way. Affiliate partnerships. And that another one is I can say 1 out of 5 guest, not just the audience, but they're reaching out going, hey, would you like to come speak at my thing? Would you like to come this? So I created a column. Never would have imagined it in the beginning, but I noticed a pattern. I made one called Synergy. What kind of cool stuff happens because of it? I don't know. It's a synergy. Yes or no? Yes.
Cool. One thing that we also talked about in the pre-chat, and I think that was a pretty cool hack that I want to share with the audience, is when you asked me like if I have an Amazon Associates account. So can you tell the audience what you told me, like in terms of how you can make more money from Amazon?
Amazon has nearly everything in the world from it. A lot of people go, what mic is this? What is this? And if you're looking, I intentionally always have this on here. I'm not even going to tell you the name of the boom arm because, well, if you can't figure that out, maybe doing a video podcast live isn't the smartest thing. But everyone wants to know what people are using, you know, because if I have that, that's going to magically instill some power, and it's going to, you know, I can tell you the microphone isn't what's making it look this way. It's what's making it sound this way. Amazon has everything in the world. So I don't know if you have 38 books behind you or 17, but I'm curious what they are. So I'm going to go to your website. Well, if I go to your website and you say, here's some books I recommend, you can also add a hyperlink that takes them to the Amazon page. Amazon will give you a cut of that commission, and that's free to do, and you can do that right off the bat. But again, are you willing to put in 5 more minutes of effort? That goes back to the mentality. There are, I'll tell you about another spreadsheet because I am absolutely monetizing my show in a big way, and it's fantastic. You need to know who your sponsors are going to be. You need to know who the partnerships are going to be. I have another spreadsheet with over 65 sponsors and partners on it already. The goal is to get it over 100, but I just started writing down stuff or typing it or whatever I started using. One of them is Evernote. I've been using that for years. I wrote 90% of my first book with it. So all I did was look up, do they have a partnership affiliate program? Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Another one, Adobe, they do. I recommend it. I've been using it for ever since CS6 and 7 came out. And now they have Creative Cloud, which is already, that came out in 2012. All these things, they want more business. And when you have an audience, your audience is going, well, how did you pull that off? Well, these are the things I've been using for years. I went through my email and just looked up all the softwares I've paid for. I go, great, now they can pay me because I really do love them. QuickBooks, that's another one. Most everyone needs accounting software, and there's only two that come to mind, and I'm going to tell you about one of them, QuickBooks. So just look up. There's no right or wrong way. Just do a simple search on Google for whatever you want, plus partner, and start with affiliate. If it doesn't show up, try partner. If not, check out the website. From there, you can call them, send an email. I don't have the exact number, but it seems like upwards of 80-90% have some sort of program. Audible, Amazon Associates. You can just take an hour or two, take 15 minutes a day, and over the course of a week, you'll have this list of like, holy smokes, like I came up with 20 just from my inbox.
Yeah, I think that's an amazing idea. I do just the 80/20 part and recommending some software here that I personally use for this summit. For example, I'm using funnel scripts to write down all the questions that I typically have for an interview, and also like writing the summit and coming up with the bullet points and headlines. And then there's like SocialBee, the social media automation tool that I'm using, and probably a few others like the graphic software that I'm using with me. It's pretty cool. And then I reached out to their CEOs, tried to get them on a call, asked them if they wanted to sponsor me. They were really hesitant with providing money because maybe they don't do this, or maybe I was not able to provide the numbers. But if you're tracking everything and you have like at some point you have statistics, you can show them like this show is seen by 10,000 people, or like this is the reach that we get, and this is your audience, and whatever at some point. And then you can show them your ROI on sponsorships and what it does. And for me, I will probably, even if I do not get money from them, but I can provide a case study which will give me a high ranking SEO backlink, which at some forums people pay a few $100s per year or something for. So this is still like incredible value, even if it's not money.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, I'll tell you a little secret that I did, because not everyone was thrilled when I was starting off, and some of them straight up don't have an affiliate partnership. There's 2 or 3 companies I really, 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 really recommend, and I love them. They just don't have an affiliate partner, whatever you want to call it. And I email them about once a month going, did you make one yet? Did you make one yet? Because when they do, I mean, I would tell you about it either way. One of them is Otter.ai. Absolutely love it for transcription of episodes, show notes. It won't create show notes, but it'll give you a transcript, whether you want to put it on your blog, your website, whatever. It's phenomenal. They do not have an affiliate partnership, whatever, at the time of this recording, unfortunately, but I know they will one day because I keep emailing them and talking to them. And when they do, I don't even care if they have one. I believe in it so much, and that's who I'm looking for. So if you believe in it to that much, would you recommend them without them paying you? If the answer is yes, then for sure check to see if they have an affiliate partnership because they should pay you. The other thing is if anyone says no, not yet, this, that, the other thing, no, we don't. There's two big companies I'm thinking of right now that um, it was a little interesting because I'm like, yeah, I've been literally buying stuff from them to the tune of tens of thousands of dollars. It's in the electronics field. I don't want to say too much because you'll figure out who they are, and I really do love them. But I've been purchasing from them since 2005, both of them, and they both turned me down. Oh no, rejection. Better shut the show down, huh? When no one likes rejection. So in the field, I put them with color code at red because I'm very visual. All the ones that said yes are green, but they're currently in red. And they said no to the application for the partnership thing. So they said no right now. They'll either make me an ambassador of the program or pay me directly for a sponsorship. I didn't say in next month or next year, but I have no doubt because I can't say that. It'll give it away. Um, they're two large companies that also have affiliate links similar to Amazon that a lot of people get stuff from. And I've been using their products and buying from them, like I said, tens of thousands of dollars since 2005. And I would love nothing more than to be running my mouth even more about them. And if I wasn't telling you the behind the scenes secrets, I would tell you who they are. But I've always talked about them. I'll still use them. I have no ill will towards them. I just wish they would have said yes from the beginning because now we're going to have to retool the website whenever it is in 6 or 12 months from now. And I would have rather had it done like 6 months ago. But even if the timing isn't right, yeah, as the show grows, you're going to not only attract more people, but it's also going to open more doors to go, hey, now we have the numbers to support it. So just make a list. If you really believe in it, keep them on the list. If it's 5 or 10 years later, okay, maybe you can take them off at that point, but you can still use them. You never know why or why not they have a sponsorship program or affiliate, but there's so many ways to monetize it. Don't think that sponsorships and affiliates are the only way, but they're two great ways that, the affiliates you can start with, but just remember you can use this video 1,000,001 different ways, cut it up into smaller pieces with a call to action for a free giveaway, and now you're at the very least building your list.
Yeah. Yeah. That's also one question that I have. Like, how much time should are we talking about somebody who's doing this full time, or how much time should I plan out for video podcasting if I'm just starting out, if I'm a solopreneur?
How committed are you? Where do you want to take it? There's no wrong answer, but the reality is if you want to kick it with a stick, which I don't teach or train or want to attract, an hour a week, I don't know, whatever the bare minimum is. It's a bad mentality, but at the maximum, there's people that go, well, I only have 20 hours a week. There's people that go, I only have 6. My goal is to take everything I learned and go, what does it really take once a lot of mine was researching and figuring out how to make it work. If I were to cut all that out, what does it really take? Same thing as book publishing. I take people from zero to publish book in 8 weeks.
Wow.
It took me not 8 weeks to pull it off. And same thing with this. I'm actually very excited to go, here's empirically what it will take. But if you could what's the focus, frequency, and format of the show? If you're doing a daily show and you need one episode a day and it's a 30-minute episode, well, right there, that's 15 hours of recording a month, plus the production, plus the other stuff. And then there's that ramp up period. But I'd say to maintain it, you could pull it off. What am I doing? You could probably start pulling it off with like 10 to 20 hours a month for a daily show. If you're doing a weekly show, well, like I said earlier, 2 to 4 hours an episode. So if you're doing 4 episodes a month, 5 hours a month, it shouldn't take too long once you know what the heck you're doing. The thing is, most people just keep stumbling through it, never really figure it out or master it, or they just give up too early. And one of my motivations was most people come to find don't make it past 10 episodes, let alone 100. I go, I'm not stopping until I get to 1,000 at least. And truth is, I probably won't stop past that, but I've not really told anyone this, but that's why all of my episodes are 4 digits. When you look at them, everyone in the world tells no matter what training you're in, they say to put 3 digits, for the thing.
Wow.
And I go, nope. And there's a good friend of mine. He's actually on your show, John Lee Dumas. I told him, I go, I appreciate everything you taught me, but I have to confess I'm breaking one of your rules. And I told him this in person, and he goes, good for you. He knew why I was doing it. But that's the reason why. So you have to think, how does this apply to me? Where's my vision? What's my commitment? What am I doing with this? And, you can't just take anything for face value. Maybe I recommend this microphone, you recommend another one, but that's because of us and the way the show is run. What if someone wants to do a show where they're live in person with people? None of these are, well, yours is actually better than mine for in person, but there's even better mics for if you're on the go running and gunning. So you don't be so concerned with all the details. You don't actually think, where am I going with this?
Which are the one other question, like which are the things that you outsource or would recommend to outsource as soon as possible? Because if I want to run a successful business and I'm the CEO, I might want to do the videos myself, but I do not want to do the editing and the uploading and whatever. So what are the first things to outsource, and then what else do you do, and how much money is required to outsource this for to find somebody who can do this, like with a decent work attitude? I don't know how to say it.
I love that question until you said how much money is it going to take, because that's a variable. You could get someone on the cheap, you could get someone on the expensive, and I'm not going to say one's better than the other.
Okay.
It goes to the training, and I'm somewhat joking, but one thing that you want to consider is don't outsource too much of your show. Okay. Now, in the same breath, I'm going to go absolutely get people in place to help you. And let me take a breather here for a second and just see. I'm doing a daily show. It's a ton of work. It's on video. Okay. It's an insane pace. For the listener and the watcher, if you're doing a weekly show, it's going to dramatically cut down, not only cut down on the amount of work you need to do, but you're going to have so much more wiggle room to do it in. So I personally edit all the audios for every episode because I want to hone my craft. Okay? I want to be the best I can be, and it's why I'm doing everything at the level I am. Now, at the same point, when I was talking to Pat Flynn, he told me he wishes he would have outsourced stuff sooner. So I'm like sitting here like a month afterwards, 2 months after starting, going, well, I know I don't, and I've told people for years, don't out. This is just for my own coaching and stuff I tell my clients, because so many people, whether it's about video podcasting, YouTube, whatever, people get eager to play Bill Gates and Richard Branson, and how can I be a serial entrepreneur and create all this stuff, and they're really good at just starting stuff. But business is Jay-Z talks about it. Life is a track. Life ain't a track meet. It's a marathon. Where are you going to be in 10 years from now? And I've told my clients for years, it's unethical not to charge a premium, because if you're not in business 2, 3, 5, 10 years down the road, you're not actually serving them, because they're depending on you to be there when they need something. So as far as the outsourcing, don't try taking it all on. There's two extremes. The person who needs to do everything and is a control freak, don't do that. You need to let God and let go. Let go and let God. Because so many people act like they just have to hang on to everything, and that's why we're entrepreneurs, because you want to be in control and you're in the driver's seat, this and that. But at the same point, what's that quote by the smart person? It's like, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with others. So I would say edit your own audio, hone your skill. You probably don't need to work on the show notes. You probably don't need to be doing the web development. You probably don't need to necessarily even... I'm 50-50 on the booking, because I love handpicking and tapping people to go, you know what, I want you on the show. I'd love to have you on the show. You could outsource the booking, though. You definitely don't need to be doing the website. The promotion is another 50-50 area. I help people with their marketing. So I actually really love running my mouth talking about your summit and everything, and even what I suggested before we went live. You know,
Yeah.
do you want to go live? I'd love to give you more publicity than less. That's my background, though. If marketing scares the crap out of you, probably give it to someone else, but make sure they're doing a good job. Just look at your business and go, what do I want to convey? What do I want the messaging to be? Who do I want to reach? Because I notice so many people, whether it's the book, the podcast, project, they just they're excited to do it, and I think they're in love with the idea, but they're not in love with the work, and that's really what makes you good. So I'm not saying to kill yourself, but I'm also saying don't outsource your business. It's your business. And when the whole thing gets screwed up and you've outsourced 90%, it's not their fault, because if you don't know what you're doing to train them to the point, I've done my own show notes, I've done the editing, I've done every step of the process. And when I realized this is how much time it takes and I could be doing 4 more interviews instead of this, that's what I should be doing. But I had it down to a science where I have training videos and I have stuff where it's still my voice, but you're doing the work. And the end result is no one can tell the difference. It's still me. It's not someone else doing it and they're guiding me through it. It's me having it down pat, going, here's the process, here's our rules, this is my company, this is my show. Same thing I tell the guest. If the audio's jacked up, the video's jacked up, if I have a certain standard and, raised to the level of excellence. So don't outsource your business, but don't kill yourself in the process. You will
Yeah.
always have to host it. I recommend you edit the audio at least so you can hone your craft. The show notes you do not need to do. The website stuff, even if you're good at it. I'm thinking of my lead developer. He's genius. I call him Mark Zuckerberg's competition. But at the same point, if he were to ask me in a coaching role, going, I want to start my own show, what do you recommend? I would say, even though you can program, all kinds of stuff, it's not your highest and best use of your time, because as a speaker, as an author, as a host, that's our highest and best use of time. You can really train anyone to be doing the other stuff. And some people like it, and some people have no desire to be on stage, so it works out.
Yeah, I love this. I developed like one lead magnet that is currently not available, but it's called the $10,000 power law. And it's something I learned from Perry Marshall, where you really have to look at what brings in your money, like what are the highest leverage activities in your business. And if you're, for example, really good at sales calls, it might be taking on the sales calls to close high ticket clients. If you're not, maybe you're a good email marketer, then it's writing really good emails. And but typically it's not something like website design, except if that's your business. And even if that's your business, like, yeah, you can still train somebody. This is a skill that you can have. And in the end, it depends. There's no right or wrong. You have to have a vision for your business, how this should look like, and then you can look for role models that run the business and have the life that you want to live. And then it's still the path of mastery, trying to model them and see what works for them, what does not work, but also have a look at, yeah, what kind of assets do they have, what kind of skills do they have, do I have the same passions and interests. And then I believe in the end it's just trusting your gut, and but still being on this path of mastery, whatever that means.
Yeah, John Maxwell actually talks about it, and he goes, if you're an 8 or a 9 in something, learn to become a 9 or a 10 or an 11. You're never going to go from being a 2 to a 10. But so many people, okay, I'll behave. There's all kinds of things that society teaches us. And, even Einstein said, everyone is a genius. But if you're asking a goldfish to climb a tree, that's the problem. And that has to do with the education system, and I'll behave. But so many people are taught to, you got to, be a jack of all trades. I have to do everything. You get hired at this job, and, not only do you have to entertain the clients, do your stuff, have your paperwork, da, 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 da. It's like, no. I've straight up asked my team, I go, hey, you're really knocking this out of the, let's take web design for example. Hey, you're really knocking this out of the park. Love what you programmed. What are your thoughts on updating the website? Well, I know how to do it, but it's not really my area. You have the competency, but is his highest and best use of time updating the website, or is it maybe programming a custom app for it? Well, in his case, my lead developer, his is doing that, and then I have other people that are more on the maintenance side, and that's me. I know a little bit of coding enough to get in trouble. I'm like, no. So you have to
Exact.
recognize that even if you have a background in video editing and graphics and all kinds of stuff, if I've gotten lost in anything, it's being so passionate and keep booking and reaching out to people, and I go, holy crap, it's midnight. I need to call a new time zone because I'm excited to have them on the show. That or just regressing back to, oh my gosh, look, special effects. What kind of more things like the countdown timer? Ooh, I get to play with the Nemo level stuff. I'm like, wait a second, did I email the client? It. My
and
role
and
has
and I think
changed.
it's at some point this is like you can still do that, but then you have to be aware of that this is more like a hobby and that's not the time that you're actually running a business. So don't confuse this two. Like if you're really passionate about, yeah, why not? It will enhance your level of mastery, but just be aware that and you do this by running your extensive spreadsheet. You know all your numbers, but so you have this awareness, and I think that's the way we should treat it if we really want to build a successful business. And that's the message that I want to convey with this summit and in all the interviews. And that's the mistake that I made in the past, that I just dabbled into it and tried this, tried that, tried this, and nothing really, yeah, lighted the fire in me. I knew I wanted to have this business. I know it's so important, but yeah, until I treated it the like a business, yeah, that was the basic shift, and that's how the summit got came together. And I treated like in the past, I just consumed a lot of stuff and content, and now while I'm organizing, while we're recording this, I'm still organizing the summit. I do not even have the time to watch the videos and to consume anything, because I'm busy following up with people who are booked for the summit. I'm busy thinking about like how the funnel looks like, what kind of offers do I have, what kind of JV partnerships I want to have after the summit, and yeah. I'm just busy and do not have time to consume, and that's also the message of my book. I wrote a book last year called Find Focus, and it's available on Kindle for Amazon, but I never promoted it. I just wrote it, and then it just stays there. And that did nothing for my business. I had so many great ideas, but I never executed them properly. And now it's just like pure focus. What's the goal in the next 90 days that I have? Focus on that. And I have visions to build $1 billion company, but all this does not matter if I'm not doing the work right now.
Martin, if there's one thing I could surmise anything into, people are watching this for business, offers and promoting. No one's going to know about your offer unless you're promoting it in the marketing. And if you're not making offers, you're not going to get sales. Because there's people who go, oh, I focus on sales, but their messaging and the marketing is junk. So they're doing 10 times more work than they need to. There's other people that dial in the messaging and they have this large following, but they have this aversion to making an offer. And it's just like mind boggling. And you could strip down every last detail, of the spreadsheet, of the business, of the metrics, and you can look at the week and go uh, import, export. How many leads came in? How many came out?
Yeah.
You can dial it down to a sheet of paper and pencil. And that's what I start with. And I've done presentations for an audience where I literally grab printer paper and throw pens everywhere. I'm like, all right, you want to learn about all this advanced stuff? Grab a pen. They're like, what the heck? Because they expect all this fanciness. I started my company with a pen and paper, and that's how I got the first 12 clients in 6 weeks. And there's been many other times that people recognized, had me on their show, their stage, their whatever, because they go, how are you doing this? And even when I started this, I kind of smile, and I'm in the middle of another one right now, and it's a lot of fun. When I launch the show, I go, what do I need to do? What do I need to launch this? I go, there's going to be a lot of moving parts, this, that, the other thing. I go, I need to go back to sales mode. And I needed to get guests, I needed to book them and close the sale, if you will, by actually filming the episode.
Yeah.
Now, and that was it. When I started the company, what do I need? I need clients. What do clients come from? Talking to people, marketing, promotion, and making an offer.
Yeah,
Once you had
exactly.
those, it's real easy to close it. When you're spending weeks worried about all the details, not going to be ideal.
Yeah,
When you're
and I
focused
think
on
that
sales, you'll make more sales.
I think that's because we're nearing the end of this episode and this masterclass. And yeah, the one thing that I learned from this summit and all the interviews that I've done is you have to have a system, and it just have to work for you. And this can be pen and paper, this can be an Excel spreadsheet, this can be a CRM like Pipedrive, whatever works for you. But you have to put in the action, and then improve your systems over time. And as you grow, you really evaluate, is this really what I need, and uh, does this system match my vision? And then track the results, and yeah look at your numbers, and then constantly improve, and honoring the small edge, like the 1%. And another speaker said, like, how can I give myself a raise every day? And he thinks about that not only in terms of money, but also in how he can raise his standards every day. And that's my final word of advice here to the audience. And maybe you have some other final words, maybe some motivation for people who want to start video podcasting.
Shoot, that's a whole seminar in itself, but I would just leave with enjoy the journey. There's a lot of people, including myself in the past, who we're so ambitious, we're so eager, we're so persistent, whatever you want to say, probably a little nuts. You know, you're so excited to get to the end. I can't wait till XY, my company's at XYZ, and I have ABC following and blah, blah, and they're just numbers and metrics. And you're so quick, and you're so far ahead mentally, focused on where you want to be, you don't enjoy where you are. And that's what I was saying earlier, because I'm very thankful for where I am, but I'm still going a lot farther. But last year, this time, literally today is the day of my first episode. And there's no way this is coincidence at all. At all. And I'm very thankful, because this, again, was the vision God gave me last year. I didn't know what I was doing. I had no friggin' clue. I just knew it was possible, and I figured it out. And I know what else is possible for the next 4 years, the next 9 years, the next 19 years. And I don't want to ever be so ungrateful, like, oh, I'm not where I am. There's one thing I'd really love done, because it did not go according to plan. I'm not going to say it, but I'm really excited to announce it eventually, if the thing ever works itself out, which it will. But it was supposed to be done in June or July. I'll just say that. And it's not. But I'm not getting upset going, rah, 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 rah. I'm going, you know what? Look at all the other stuff I have thankful for. This is an opportunity to focus on these things, when maybe had that been on schedule, I'd be so focused on that, I miss maybe this opportunity when you reached out to me. So don't get so caught up with, I want to be here and have one more ticky mark on the checklist, because at 1 year I need to have exactly all these things done. Maybe it takes 12 or 13 months. Well, 12 months is a year. Maybe it takes 13 or 14 months. Big deal. When you're aiming for 10 years down the road, what's it matter? It's 30 days. When you're always micro, I have to make these. Most people overestimate what they can do in 1 or 2 years and underestimate what they can do in 5 or 10. Some smart person said that, and it's very true. And I would say that enjoy the journey, and, keep moving forward, but be grateful for where you are every moment.
Awesome final words. And thank you so much, Mario, for this fantastic interview and masterclass. And yeah, for the people who are watching this live right now while we're recording this, my funnel is not ready, but you can already register for the summit at www.paretosummit.com. And yeah, I will also put a link to your website below this, where they can have your free video podcasting course, I guess. And yeah, that's where we send people, and there's no second part in this interview, because yeah, we wanted to give you all the value for everybody who's watching this for free. But I still encourage everybody to upgrade to the VIP pass, because the money will be, and all the profit that I make from this will be donated directly to Pencils of Promise. So yeah, thank you very much. And yeah, thank you, Mario.
It was an absolute pleasure, and I hope everyone got a lot of value out that. If you have any other questions, I'm happy to answer. Thank you again for having me.